Dr. Sapna Radwal. I'm working as a professor in the management department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. Today I'm going to cover few topics of business law which is taught in BBA 4th semester of MDU curriculum. Business law is very important for students as well as business owners, general public and to other professionals too, because the business law gives the knowledge and educate people how they should enter into a contract or what are the precautions they should take while entering into a contract. So the laws which we study in business law helps not only business owners or professionals or managers, but also help general public in taking better decisions. For example, like Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act tells us what are the essentials of contract, what is the difference between contract and agreement, and while entering into contract, what precaution one should take while entering into any contract. There are other laws like Sale of Goods Act, Negotiable Instrument Act, Contract of Agencies, Contract of Gratuity, etc. Such laws are important for general public too, because they enhance the knowledge of general public. They also help managers and in taking important decisions. So I'm starting with my topics. The topics I am going to cover are introduction about Indian Contract Act 1872, definition of contract, and there is a difference between agreement and contract, essential elements of valid contract, and classifications of contract. There are different classifications on which contracts are classified into. Starting with the Indian Contract Act. The Indian Contract Act 1872 prescribes the law relating to contracts in India and is the key act regulating Indian Contract Act. The act is based on the principles of English common law. It is applicable to all the states of India. It determines the circumstances in which promises made by the parties to a contract and shall be legally binding. The act is very important as this act determines circumstances in which promises made by the parties to a contract and it legally bound those promises to both the parties. Its intention is to ensure that what a party has promised, they should perform as per the agreement. The Indian Contract Act occupies an important place in the mercantile law of the country also. Every citizen of the country, whether he is a businessman or a professional or a doctor or a teacher or an artist, is affected by this act. Their lives are impacted by this act. This act was enacted on 25th April 1872 and commenced from 1st September 1872, and it is applicable to all the states of India and enacted by Imperial Legislative Council. Now, the next topic is definition about contract. A law of contract is the basis upon which the superstructure of all business is built. It affects every person in one way or the other, as all of the people enter into some kind of contract almost every day, and most of time they, without realizing, they are doing from the viewpoint of law. Now, the word contract is derived from the Latin word contractum, meaning drawing together. Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 defines a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. In simple words, a contract is an exchange or promise between two persons giving birth to legal obligations and if one of the person defaults, the other person can sue him in the court of law. In other words, according to contract is an exchange between two or more parties, a promise and it create, and these promises create legal obligation on the both the parties. According to Salmon, a contract is an agreement creating, defining obligation between the parties, and according to Bullock, every agreement and promise enforceable by law is a contract. Now the difference, so in the end we can say a contract is an exchange or promise between two persons giving birth to legal obligations, and if one of the person defaults, the other person can sue him in the court of law. Now the difference between agreements and contract, it is in saying, it is important and very common saying that all agreements are not contract, but all contracts are agreement. Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 says that an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So every promise and every set of promises forming consideration for each other is an agreement. An agreement which is enforceable by law is a contract. An agreement is created by acceptance of an offer. On the other side of the contract, we need that agreement which is enforceable by law. An agreement may not create any legal rights and obligation on the parties, but contract create legal obligations and rights between the parties. Now the next topic is essential element of valid contract. A contract has been defined as in section 2H as an agreement enforceable by law. So to be enforceable by law, an agreement must possess the essential elements of valid contract as considered in section 10, 29 and 56 of Indian Contract Act 1872. According to section 10, all agreements are contract if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration with a lawful object and are not hereby expressly declared by the act to be void. So the following are the essential elements of valid contract. The first one is there must be an agreement. The second was there must be an intention to create legal relation, and there should be a lawful consideration. The parties should be enough to enter into a contract. There should be free and genuine consent. The object of the contract should be lawful. So agreements may be written in registration, and some of the agreements should be written and properly registered, and there should be certainty of the contract. I am starting with the first point, agreement. To constitute a contract, there must be agreement, and for agreement, there must be lawful offer and lawful acceptance of that offer. So it is very clear, to constitute a contract, there must be an agreement between two parties. And the second one is intention to create legal relationship. There must be an intention among the parties to create a legal relation. Agreement of a social or domestic nature do not create a legal bindings on parties. Such agreements are not called as valid contract. Now the next consideration, the next essential element is lawful consideration. The third essential is consideration, lawful consideration. Consideration has been defined as the price paid by the one party for the promise of other. An agreement is legally enforceable only when each of the parties to it gives something and gets something. The something given or obtained is the price for the promise and called as consideration. For example, A agrees to sell his car to B for 2 lakh rupees, and B promised to pay 2 lakh as a consideration to A. This is a valid contract, and the consideration is lawful. The next essential element is capacity of the parties. The parties to an agreement must be competent enough to enter into a contract, otherwise it cannot be enforced by a court of law. Section 11 of Indian Contract Act specifies that every person is competent to enter into a contract if he has attained the age of majority, means he has completed his 18 years, or second is he should be of sound mind, And the third one, he should not be disqualified from contracting by any law to which he is subject. Now, the next essential element of contract is free and genuine consent. Free consent of all the parties to an agreement is another essential element of valid contract. Consent means that the parties must have agreed upon the same thing in the same sense, and that consent should be free from coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation and mistake. It means the consent should not be taken by threatening someone or by doing fraud, by misrepresentation or by mistake. The next is lawful object. For the formation of valid contract, it is also necessary that the parties to the agreement must agree for a lawful object. The object for which the agreement has been entered into must not be fraudulent, illegal, immoral, or opposed to public policy, or must not imply injury to the person or property of another. If the object is unlawful for another or other people, then that agreement or contract will be void and cannot be enforced in the court of law. For example, if a landlord has rented his flat to such people who wants to carry something which is against public policy, then this is a void contract. The next one is, next essential element of valid contract is writing and registration. A contract may be oral or may be in written. But in certain special cases, it should be in agreement. It should be in written or should be registered. For example, agreement of paying a time barred debt. Such agreement should be properly written, because without written agreement, it will be difficult to sue the other party in the court. Now, the next essential element is certainty. An agreement must be capable of being certain. A vague or uncertain agreements cannot be enforced in the court of law. Section 29 of the Contract Act provides that agreement, the meaning of which is not certain or capable of being made certain, are void. In order to give rise to valid contract, the terms of the agreement must not be vague or uncertain. It must be possible to ascertain the meaning of agreement. Otherwise, such agreement cannot be enforced in the court of law. Now, the next is possibility of performance. Another essential feature of valid agreement is that it must be capable of performance. Section 56 lays down that an agreement to do an act impossible in itself is a void agreement. So, if the act is impossible in itself, physically or legally, the agreement cannot be enforced in law, in the court of law. The last essential element of valid contract as per the Indian Contract Act is agreement should not be declared void or lawful agreement. The agreement must not be one which the law declares to be either illegal or void. A void agreement is the one which is without any legal effects. Illegal agreement is an agreement expressly or impliedly prohibited by the law. For example, an agreement to restraint of trade, marriage, legal proceedings, etc. are void agreements. These agreements are prohibited by the Indian Penal Code. For example, threat to commit murder or publish defamatory statements or agreements which are opposed to public policy are illegal in nature. Such agreements cannot be enforced, as such agreements are declared by law as illegal agreements. The next topic is classification of contract. The contracts can be classified on the basis of different aspects. The first aspect is classification on the basis of enforceability. Enforceability. The first on the enforceability. On the basis of enforceability, the contracts are classified into 6 types: valid contract, void contract, void agreement, voidable contract, illegal contract, unenforceable contract. A valid contract is an agreement. An agreement is a valid contract if it fulfills all the essential requirement of a contract given under section 10 of Indian Contract Act. A valid contract is enforceable by law. Now, the next one is void contract. A contract which cannot be enforced in the court of law is called as void contract. Section 2I says that a void contract is a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law. For example, where both the parties to an agreement are under a mistake of fact, or where the consideration or object is unlawful, or agreement is made without consideration, or void agreements. And the next one, void contract. The next one is void agreement. Section 2G says that an agreement not enforceable by law is a void agreement. The Act has specified various factors due to which an agreement may be considered as void agreement. One of these factors is unlawfulness of object and consideration of the contract. So, if the consideration is missing in the contract, then it is a void agreement. If the object of the agreement is unlawful, then it is a void agreement. Example is Ram has given 1 lakh rupees to Shyam, and Shyam is a minor. Then this agreement is a void because you cannot enter into a contract with the minor. Then next one is voidable contract, an agreement which is enforceable by law at the opinion of one or more parties called as voidable contract. Section 2(1) says that voidable contract, an agreement which is enforceable by law at one option of one or more parties, but not at the option of other or others, is a voidable contract. For example, a contract brought about as a result of coercion, undue influence, fraud, or misrepresentation would be voidable at the person whose consent was taken by these factors. Now, the next one is illegal contract. It is a contract which is forbidden by law. Illegal contracts, if permitted, would defeat the provision of any law or is fraudulent. It may involve or imply injury to a person, property of another, or court regard it as immoral and opposed to public policy. For example, contract to commit crime, contract that is immoral or opposed to public policy are illegal in nature. Then unenforceable contract. A contract is good in substance, but because of some technical defects, both the parties cannot enforce it. So, it is called as unenforceable contract. For example, absence in writing, barred by limitation, both the parties cannot sue it because it is described as unenforceable contract. Then classification on the basis of formation. Express contract, where offer and acceptance has taken in express manner, it may be written or oral, is called as express contract. For example, X says to Y, will you buy my car? For 2 lakh rupees, Y says to him, yes, I am ready to buy a car for 2 lakh rupees. It is an express contract made orally. The second example is X write a letter to Y, I offer to sell my car to you for 2 lakh rupees, and Y sends a letter back to X that he is ready to buy a car for 2 lakh rupees. It is an express contract made in writing. The next one is implied contract, where offer and acceptance are made not by use of words, by the conduct only, are therefore implied contracts. For example, if a person enters a bus, there is an implied promise that he has to pay a bus fare. Now, quasi-contract, the term quasi-contract would literally means semi-contract. A quasi-contract is created by law. Thus, quasi-contracts are strictly not contract, as there is no intention of the party to enter into a contract. It is legal obligation which imposed on a party who is required to perform it. For example, a relationship between a founder of the goods and the true owner. A founder of the goods has to return goods to the true owner as it is required by the law. Now, the classification on the basis of performance. The first one is executed contract. Where both the parties have done their respective work, it is called as executed contract. And for example, Ram purchased a pen from shopkeeper Sham for rupees 70, and Ram has paid the price and Sham has given him the pen. And so, there is nothing to perform in this agreement. This contract will be called as executed contract because both the parties have done their jobs. Now, the executory contract, it is a contract where one or both the parties to the contract have still to perform their obligation in future. Thus, a contract which is partially performed or wholly unperformed is termed as executory contract. Now, on the basis of obligation, classification on the basis of obligation, the first one is unilateral contract. A unilateral contract is one-sided contract in which only one party has to perform his promise or obligation to do the task. For example, A makes payment for the bus fare for his journey from Jaipur to Kota. Now, it is the duty of the transport company to take him from Jaipur to Kota. The second one is bilateral contract, where the obligation or promise in a contract is outstanding on both the part of the parties. It is called as bilateral contract. In the next lectures, I am going to cover offer and acceptance and how offer is made, essential elements of valid offer, classification of offer, lapse of how offer gets lapsed, what is the reason with which offer gets lapsed. These are the topics I am going to cover in the next video lecture, and these are the questions of the lectures of this lecture, like define contract. These are the 10 questions you have to perform. Thank you. If there is any query, please do contact me. If